Today, and we'll get to it in just a second here, we have a guest host in for Hugh Douglas. We got a lot to discuss. I just want to start here, man. That one was different. Guys, that was different. And there's this radio station, as we welcome in Hunter Brodes, who's with me today for the next 4 hours and with all of us. This radio station, Brodes, is for a lot of things. It's an incredible place where we all do this together. And we got to do it together in an amazing way last February when the Eagles won a championship. And we got to do the opposite today because last night in every way, shape, and form was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. I got so many emotions this morning. Brodes, good morning, man. The season is over. We'll get to the Eagles, whatever the hell that was. But that just hurt, man. That hurt. That one felt. We've done this 4 years in a row, and I had just felt differently last night when that ended. Good morning, Brodes, as the Phillies go down in Game 4.
Devastated. Oh, I'm just gutted. There's so much pain. I couldn't even comprehend what the hell was going on last night. My body was shaking. I was so uncomfortable. Just like that, Joe. I mean, you're telling me after everything that could have happened to lose a series and to unfortunately fall again, that's what we got? I feel bad for the kid. I do. I'll get more into why. You know, maybe Rob shouldn't have went that way. Maybe he should have stayed with Luzardo. But I feel bad for the kid. You can tell he just blacked out and the moment was too big.
Yeah, it was. And look, for a series to end on a mental error like that, like I felt numb watching it. I must have replayed it like 5 times. My son was coming downstairs like he's kind of going to sleep, but not. He's 10, and he's like, wait, are they going to win? And then he knew the game was still going on, and I was like, all right, just come watch it. And I felt bad making him watch it, but I was like, he's got to see it. And we watched
hold on. You're telling him to sit there and soak in the pain?
Well, he asked me what happened. What am I supposed to say?
I don't know. You have to lie and say everything's going well, bud.
Part of becoming a man.
Yeah, it is. It was like an indoctrination. Man, I felt numb watching it because it was almost like it happened in slow motion, right? The balls hit back to him, and he had plenty of time. I mean, he had time to make the play. And it just was, it was a brain meltdown, and then the physical meltdown. And then, like, it's not just a game, bros. It's this era. Like, you think about it. And I was thinking this morning about my emotion after every one. I was in here, actually, on this show, in for John Ritchie with the camera the Monday after Game 6 of the 2022 World Series. And I remember sitting there with Joe that day, and I said, I'm not angry. I'm proud. Like, that team had no business taking the Astros to the brink. I was proud of them. Then 23 happened, and it was like, they choked. They choked that to a bet. They were better than the Diamondbacks, and they choked it away. Last year, I was angry at them because I thought they went out as chumps to the Mets. I mean, they played like chumps in that series. This one, I don't have any of those emotions, man. I'm dejected. I'm sad. And I do feel like this was the end. And not that the franchise is done and they can't retool. We'll get to that over the course of the next few weeks and all that. But I just feel like this group's run is never going to be the same. They're not a young team. And, Brodes, every sport has these teams, right? Every era has these teams where it's like they're good enough to win a championship, but they don't, right? You know, like you go back to the 90s where Jordan would stop all those good NBA teams from winning. The Eagles in the 2000s with Hugh and Ike and Donovan. Like every era in sports has those teams. And it kind of hit me as they walked off the field last night. Brodes, I feel like we got one of those teams. Like they got enough to win a championship, but every year something happens.
Yeah, and you look at this starting pitching. That's winning championship caliber starting pitching.
Yep.
What you saw from Sanchez, that was a young, proud father watching. Like, I remember when he was playing the 5th starter role and bouncing up and down. Now he's shoving on the road in a back against the wall type of game, and he's making Freddie Freeman look like he's Johan Rojas. I mean, it's crazy what was happening from Sanchez and Luzardo and Ranger Suarez, and even my guy Knowles. What you got out of the starting pitching was outrageous. That's championship caliber starting pitching, but they're just not a detailed team. Their offense is way too inconsistent, and that's really what led to this downfall. And that sucks, man. You paid these guys so much money to come up clutch, to have big ABs. As great as Kyle Schwarber chasing down Ryan Howard potentially was, well, we need you, man. We need you more than just a Game 3, and he wasn't there. And same applies to Trey, 0 for 5. This guy, I was told, could be MVP candidate with Kyle, and he's getting disrespected. Well, I need you in an NLDS against your former team. He was a nobody. Bryce wasn't there. I mean, that's where it was lost.
Yeah, you're totally right on that. And as much as I'm just disappointed that Kerkering melted down in that moment. He didn't lose the game. Like that game, like that was the moment, and it's going to get replayed forever, unfortunately. But that game wasn't on ORION Kerkering and that deep into extra innings. It was on the offense. I mean, they stunk yesterday. And really, Brodes, they've stunk for the most part in a lot of postseasons recently, right? They have a blow-up every now and then, like in Game 3 where they score all those runs. Like, oh, they're back. And then they don't do it again. And these postseason games, we were talking about before the show, they come down to little moments, right? Like, you don't blow teams out. You don't roll through series like that. It's little moments. And the Phillies' little moments are bad moments. I mean, they just are. They can't find themselves in that moment. And it's so disappointing because you only get so many shots at this, man. You only get so many shots. This is the oldest team in baseball. I don't know if Wheeler will be himself ever again. And I felt it when they walked off the field last night, bro. It's like, I think that's part of the reason I'm feeling the way I am today, that they're one of those teams in sports history. I saw it on their faces. Like, they know it, right? Like, I always think it's one of the saddest things in sports when a team can't say it, but you see it on their face. They know it might just not happen for them.
Yeah, well, guess what? The Eagles might be thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
More on that later. Woo. But hold on. I just want to add a little cherry on top to this whole thing.
Yeah.
It's not just the offense that's extremely disappointing. I'm going to add the manager. I think for as bad as the offense was, I thought Rob Thompson was embarrassing when it comes to playoff baseball and playoff managing. You have to nail decisions. You have to be perfect, as close as you can to be perfect. And I thought, even Ranger starting Game 3, well, then you have to use him in Game 1. Instead, he goes to David Robertson for the 7th, and he can't even be utilized the rest of the series. So, Game 1, you felt so good about this guy, David Robertson, that he goes 6 and 7, yet you can't use Ranger, but you use him in Game 3, and then you put Kerkering into inherit runners when he stinks at inheriting runners, and the list goes on and on. So, you want to play that game that the offense was horrible and lifeless? That is true. I thought Rob is right up there with disappointment with the offense. And I'm a Rob guy. I went in thinking you had an advantage. Dave Roberts, Rob Thompson, I'm rocking with Rob. He's managing different. He's benching Castellanos. He's doing this. He's doing that. Man, what a dud from the manager, too.
It was bad. It really was. And I when they brought him in 22 and made the manager, I thought he was great that whole season, getting to the World Series. But as the years have gone on, it's almost like he and the team mirror each other. Like, it's going the wrong way. I thought it was like quicksand this series. Like, every time he stepped in it, it got worse and worse. And yesterday, look, did he lose that game yesterday? No, the bats are really the issue. I agree with you. Kerkering with inherited runners has been a problem for the entire season. Look, we could debate the Otani walk to get to Betts. I thought he gave Duran no margin for error there. And I know that's Duran. He can't walk Mookie Betts to walk the run in. But, man, you traded for Duran to get those outs. I would have let him try to get those outs there. 215-592-9494. What's the emotion today as this thing is over? And I do feel deep down that this run is over. I just don't think this group is ever going to, one, be together again, two, be as great as they've been the last 4 years. And I feel numb this morning because 4 years they've given us a lot of joy, but it just feels like they're one of those teams that cannot get over the hump. All right, today's the day for everyone to vent, to get it off their chest. Hunter Brody in for Hugh today. And this was planned, but I think we would have suspended Hugh anyway for the day. Yeah, I mean, we got a little call before the show.
He called me. First, one of the first 3 words that came out of his mouth was Cam Scatterbo, and I almost hung up.
And that's, we would have hung up on him if he was here. Yeah, that's a joke. All right, Kyle, what are you feeling this morning as it all ends?
Yeah, so you, Brodes, Max, all the callers, listeners, get out of my face. Get the hell out of my face. Like,
well, we got to be here for the next 4 hours.
I know. But I mean, like, I'm eyeing up the Schuylkill. So if you see me not paying attention today,
okay,
my head keeps turning
not that far
toward the
away.
Schuylkill.
Yeah.
It's not.
I'm not encouraging. I'm just telling
and it might be a little cold today, but we'll wait see if it warms up a little bit. I mean, I almost kind of have to laugh at this point because it is impressive to a degree the manner in which these teams, especially like the Phillies, and when you get to these deep parts of the postseason, how they find creative ways to give you hope and then just stab you right in the heart, like in a variety of ways. The way that game ended last night, I've never seen anything like that in my life, and like it's got to be one of the biggest like individual player choke jobs that I've ever seen. And I know that a lot of people today are going to be like, don't put this on ORION Kerkering. This is on the offense. I agree. The series boils down to our offense didn't hit. Guess what? Dodgers offense didn't really hit either. I mean, in playoff baseball, these games, these series, all these moments, they come down to like one one little thing.
Yeah.
Whoever makes the fewest amount of errors or whoever makes that one error. And Kerkering made the biggest error of them all. I mean, the error that ended the season. It's one of the craziest things that I've ever seen. That clip of him picking up the ball and bobbling it and then not throwing it to first base while JT's pointing there and then flailing it over JT's head is going to replay in my head forever. Like, I went to sleep with that, like, playing on a loop last night, and it was hard for me to go to sleep. Remember when I came in a few weeks ago, and I was looking green and violently ill?
Yeah.
I feel worse than that today. I mean, I'm almost, like, numb to it all at this point.
Yeah, you said people are going to feel bad. You can feel empathy for the person, right? Orion Kerkering, the person.
Yeah, what about me?
Yeah, but, well...
I was not where I thought you were going to go with that.
But as far as the player goes, it is an all-time... It's an all-time meltdown. I mean, it's an all-time... It is I don't know if I've ever seen a playoff series end on a mental... I know it was a physical error, right? He threw the ball past J2, but it was a mental error. He forgot where he was. He forgot the situation. Brodes, the runner's not even halfway to first base.
No.
He picks the ball up. They're out of the inning, and Kyle brought this up in the meeting before the show. Treinen is warming up. Like, we got the guy we can hit in that bullpen ready to go. We're probably talking about Game 5 if he just throws the ball to first base.
If they got to the top half of that extra inning, they were winning the game because of how bad. That's equivalent to if Brandon Workman and that garbage curveball came back.
Yeah.
That's what they were warming up
yeah.
in the pen. So you had an opportunity there. And this is why I go back to Topper, right? And if you tell me all throughout the regular season in June, in July, in games in August that don't even have 1/3 of the pressure that we're talking about here, if you can't do a job inheriting runners then, you're telling me you're going to put the guy in who's bad at it with the added pressure of the season being on the line and extra innings on the road versus this Dodgers lineup? And I say that to say you black out, you make a mistake, you have a mental error, you don't know what to do, you have the yips in the moment. Well, that kind of correlates to the guy who has a bad job inheriting runners. It all correlates. You put in a guy to fail, and you got to stay with Luzardo. That's the move there. And if you give up a hit, you put up your hands, you shrug, and say, okay, but there's cold-blooded in the playoffs. You see that in Sanchez. You see that in Duran. You see that in Luzardo. You see that in Ranger.
Yep.
There's cold-blooded, and then there's guys who just can't handle it. And I think Kerkering is young, and I hope he can get there one day. But it was clear he's not on the level of ice in the veins.
Yeah, listen, if the Dodgers are a great team, they're probably going to win the World Series again. But if they had just beat the Phillies around for 40 games, I would have said, oh, what are we going to do? We face a super team. The Phillies beat themselves. I mean, part of me feels like the Dodgers in that clubhouse probably like, man, they gave it to us. They gave it to us in Game 2. They gave it to us in Game 4. And you just can't do that in a short series. 215-592-9494. Dejected, numb, angry, disappointed. What are you feeling this morning as the Phillies go down? And do not worry. We will get to the Eagles in a little bit here. Because you know what? At least we all could just be angry with them together because they played like crap last night. And they might not be a great team by any stretch of the imagination right now. But we start with the Phillies as the season comes to an end last night. Chris in Middletown up on WIP. Chris, good morning.
Thank God it's Friday, man.
Yeah, we need a couple days after this. Yeah, no question.
Mm-hmm. Hey, first of all, I am angry that Mr. Jacksonville decided to mail it in today. If he thinks ducking the fire is going to make it better when he comes back next week, he's just wrong.
So I agree with you, but maybe it's best for all of our collective psyche that he wasn't giggling or talking about Cam Scattaboo this morning on the air the way he he would have been, Chris.
Yeah,
he brought this dark cloud on us. So I blame him first and foremost. Guys, I want to talk about the Phils, and I was going to touch on the Eagles, but do you want me to just let's
focus on the Phils right now. Yep.
All right, so let's focus on the Phils. Let's start with the nightmare that was last night. I 100% agree with Kyle. Playoff games are, offense has got to win the game for you, but you're going to get these low-scoring games. So it's up to the manager, it's up to the pitchers. They're first and foremost got to do this. Dude, here's how I feel about this entire thing. Orion Kerkering, that man's broken. He's got to go see the wizard because his confidence is gone. He's got no heart left in him. His career started. Let's look at how it started. He started off with ice water in his veins. He would come out there. The moment was never too big for him. We were like, oh, my God, this young guy, he's overachieving. Well, that ship has sailed. This guy has been terrible all season with runners on. And I don't care, Joe. If you're going to try to defend that decision, that was a terrible decision by Rob Zombie to bring him in with runners on. He should have went to Tanner Banks there. Kirkling was a mess. And then here's the dumbest thing of all. The nightmare play that's gonna give Kyle PTSD for the rest of his life. The play was never at home plate. It's bases loaded. You have 2 outs. The play is always at first base or the nearest bag. And by the nearest bag, it's never home plate. The guy's coming off of third. He's got a lead. He's running downhill. You're throwing to the catcher. The play is always first. He bobbled the ball. There was plenty of time.
Well, that's why, Chris, it was all mental. It was all mental. I mean, I think in that moment he didn't realize how much time he had. He panicked. I mean, he panicked and threw the series to the backstop.
It's a Ben Simmons pass when Trey Young was on him and he passed it to Matisse Thybulle. That's what it was.
It was that, but as if the buzzer was about to sound. Like it was the last play of the game.
It was terrible, and the look on his face is pure panic, deer in the headlights. That's the guy. Listen, when we talk about coaches and say know your personnel, you mean to tell me, Rob, that's the guy you had faith in that high leverage position?
I agree.
That is the worst guy from a mental aspect. So you know what? Rob's going to get fired, thank God. And Dave Dombrowski, don't let the door hit you on the way out because you've been an epic failure. I want to see Schwarber gone. I want to see Nicky Boy gone, and take that money and go get us Tucker in the offseason. Have a good day, man.
Chris, appreciate the phone call. Yeah, I mean, it's open season now. I mean, this group has had 4 years, and they haven't got it done, and it feels like their window is either completely shut, Brodes, or it's closing very fast. And I think we've done this thing every summer. We give them the benefit of that. We say this year's going to be different, but they remind us every October it's the same. There's something off. Like they're just this close, but not a championship team. And you can't have this many mistakes. I mean, the base running was mistakes. The pitching decisions were mistakes. Obviously, the bunt was a mistake. And then yesterday, it was the combination of using Kerkering in that spot. And then, man, I don't know if he can recover in this city. It's what I saw yesterday was one of those, like, you know when a kicker misses a huge kick in a playoff game or a Super Bowl? Sometimes they never recover. And they thought of him as their future closer a few years ago. I don't know if he ever can recover here from this.
Could this be a situation where there's so much sympathy for him that people are rooting for him to succeed and come back from it?
It probably will be.
Yeah.
But I just don't know if he will ever recover on the mound. Like, will we ever trust him again in a big spot? I mean, like, come on.
No, probably not. Not anytime soon, at least.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's one thing if you get hit. Pitchers get hit, right?
He does have an intriguing skill set.
I know.
For a young reliever.
Sure he does. That's why they put him in these big spots for years. But that was horrendous.
Well, the funny thing is, funny might not be the adjective, but no matter what, there's really nothing he'll ever be able to do for that to not be the moment that everyone remembers him by.
Of course. I mean, it's
like he's just a reliever. Right, so like
you can't hit a game-winning home run.
Right, like that's it. That's ORION Kerkering now forever.
Yeah, and he's never going to be a closer. If anything, if he revives it somehow, some way, he's what, a seventh-inning guy? Well, how much is he going to be able to revive himself as a seventh-inning guy unless they go all the way and he's the Madsen type of role-ish? You know what I mean? Like that's the best he could possibly ever do, and that won't be enough to recover from that type of moment. So, you're right. You might have to just kind of run him out of town.
He's the moment.
This is what it is.
People always accuse us of running people out of town. It might be best for everyone if he's.
That's what WIP does.
That's what we're here for today.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you are. Will in the Northeast is up. Good morning, Will.
Oh, good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Will.
Happy Full Moon Friday.
Yeah, well, it is weird hearing your voice so subdued, but I understand it today. That was as bad as it gets.
And don't forget, the Flyers lost too last night. For anyone that cares.
That's why Brodes is here. We were planning a full Flyers show, but we shelved that idea. Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, man, it was like 3 down, man. 3 strikes. All of them struck out. You know what I mean? My thing was, this is what really pissed me off, man. You got Luzardo in there. He's hot. He's just striking everything down. Okay, he got in a little trouble, but we didn't see him come through. And then you pull him, right? That was that was one of the things that, I was saying this is the start of the ending. But what really got me was when they walked Otani. That was game over. I told everybody, we was out there chilling, cooking out, looking at both games on the projector, and I said it's over, man. You know why? Otani was 1-14 in this series, right? How the hell do you walk him? You let these guys play. It's like he took the momentum from us.
So, well, I agree with you on this, and I thought this in the moment. So, look, it's up to Duran not to walk the next guy. That's his job. But, Will, they traded for Duran to face Otani, right? Like when you drew it up, you traded for him. They gave up a lot to get him to get the biggest out of the season. And I thought the bunt in Game 2 was cowardly by Topper. This felt a little cowardly too. Like let's not have him face this guy to face the next guy because we think it's a better matchup. And let's be clear, Otani's great. Mookie Betts is a first ballot Hall of Famer too. It wasn't like you're going from Bryce Harper to Alec Boehm to where it's like, of course you're going to walk Bryce Harper. We're going from Otani to Mookie Betts, and with that, Will, they had no margin for error. I mean, he throws 4 balls out of the zone there. It's a run. I mean, I thought it was the wrong decision. Obviously, Duran made it worse by walking Mookie, but I would have let him pitch to Otani too.
Let me play devil's advocate for a quick second here, Will. I don't disagree with you guys to a degree, but if you were to keep Duran in and face, if you were to allow Duran to face Otani with first base open and he finally delivers, you don't think we'd be here shredding Rob for allowing Otani to get a rip at Duran with the free pass?
It would be there. It would. But Duran, that's why they got Duran. That's the best hitter in baseball. Get him out.
But guess what? We still got the same result.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
Why not let him go ahead and keep the momentum that we had and have these guys, because these guys was on the rope, man. They was starting to get in panic mode because we were sticking in there for so long, right? And I just want to say this, and I'm going to end it because I know everybody want to talk. Listen, man, this was the thing I really meant to say yesterday. This team wasn't doing it for the fans. It wasn't winning the World Series for the fans. It was winning the World Series for themselves, man. And that's what they didn't get, man. And Harper, you didn't dig deep, bro. And what I want to say to you, bro, man, I love you as a player, man. But guess what? I don't think you want it anymore. So if you don't want it anymore, let it be known. Let it be known you want out of Philly, because we don't need that type of energy anymore, man. And I love the team, and I wish they would have won it. But guess what, man? We got some rebuilding to do and some soul searching, baby.
Will, appreciate the call. Well, there's definitely soul searching to do. Rebuilding, we'll see what they do this offseason. But soul searching on the manager, on the decisions they got to make with a lot of free agents. It just sucks. It sucks that this is the end.
It does. Can I add one thing on that Topper decision? Yeah. There's a lot of questionable decisions made by Rob, and I think he probably got 95% of them wrong. I don't think that's a bad decision. That's a baseball decision that makes sense. You may have not gotten the outcome. Sometimes I can understand why you do something, even if the outcome isn't what you want. I think that one falls in the category of putting Shohei on with first base wide open. Imagine if a team did that and put Kyle Schwarber on or put Bryce on to go after the next guy. That's a decent managerial decision that you just didn't get the result you were looking for. Everything else was egregious from Rob. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it was 50-50.
Exactly.
And you know what? It really...
But you got to get him right.
You do. And
you got to get him right.
We're spinning it to Topper and Duran. The other side of the story is their star came up with a good at-bat. Mookie walked and got the run in, right? Like... Our guys didn't come up with those at-bats.
Right.
I mean, like, they have Otani, Betts, and Freeman. We have, Turner and Harper and Schwarber.
Kyle was on third in the first inning. Yeah. Changed his glass now his whole entire effort, maybe.
As much as we might be annoyed at Topper or Duran for walking him, Mookie Betts worked a great at-bat. Mookie Betts is a Hall of Fame player. Our guys that we talk about as maybe future Hall of Famers, they didn't work those same at-bats yesterday. 215-592-9490. If we're getting it all out today, Phillies season ends last night on an all-time bad moment. I just feel numb, and I feel like the Phillies, it hit me last night. As much as I kind of thought it at times over the years, they're one of those teams. There's teams in sports history that are good, close to great, but they're not champions. And I feel like that's how we're going to remember this group. And the Eagles take their worst loss in a long time. What was that? We'll get to some of the Eagles' reaction as well and what happened in the game and the players, what they're saying about this broken offense right now. Midday Show, Brodes in for Hugh on Sports Radio 94 WIP. Let's get to the phone lines on the Phillies here who go down last night. The Kerkering throw, the bats, which were just not good enough yesterday. Topper, who really had a terrible series. And the fact that this era just feels like it's ending. And I know people are going to push back on that's not over. They'll retool. They'll sign this guy and this guy. This group, it's not going to be the same. I mean, it's just not. They had a 4-year window to try to win a World Series, and it just feels like we got the bridesmaid, not the bride. It's got close but no cigar. It's because whenever you got a team like that, bros, you want to not believe it's going to be true, right? Like, because everyone, they could win a title, but then when the window changes or closes, you're like, you kind of knew it all along, and there's a lot of feeling about them that it reminds me of Hugh and Ike's and Donovan's Eagles. Like they brought joy to the city. They got really close. They are championship worthy, but something always goes wrong.
But they were more likable than this team.
Agreed.
So you said that twice now. You said the phrase of, it's not going to be the same. And my gut instant reaction both times was good. Good,
yeah.
And maybe that tells you everything you need to know. Look, they made the run in 22, but nobody knew that was coming. It came out of nowhere. They were frustrating to watch. 23 before the playoffs, they were frustrating as hell. Last year, before the NLDS to the Mets, after London, they were a 500 baseball team, and they were painful to watch. And I know this may sound ludicrous after they won 96 games, but this year, it felt like not a 96-win team throughout the season. Something wasn't aligning. So when you say it might look different, my reaction is good. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It might just tell everyone where I'm at. Maybe some agree. I need something different because this group, nasty. Get it out of my face.
We have a phrase we use in the show a lot when we pretend something and then we got to stop. We say drop the act, right? And soon we might have to drop the act with the quarterback of the Eagles. We'll hold on to that. We'll hold on to that for a second. We might have to drop the act, but we got to drop the act with the Phillies. Like they're not a championship team. Like we think they are, we hope they are, but they're not. And in the biggest moments, they show us.
I didn't listen to anything you just said. You disrespected the greatest, guy we have in town.
Disrespected me with those overthrows. Steve in Bridgeton's up. Steve, how we doing this morning?
Joe Brodes, man, I am devastated. Before I get to the Phillies, can I just say the Madden cover curse lives on?
Can you say what? Say that again?
The Madden cover curse is living on.
Oh, the Madden cover.
Oh, yeah, Saquon. As we have another quiet night last night. Yeah, not great, Steve. We'll unpack them in a few minutes.
Okay,
Steve, your feeling on the Phils this morning?
I'm sickening. I got a lot of writing off to do here. First off, I want the entire coaching staff fired except Caleb Cotham. He can stay. Schwarber, you can walk. You can go to Cincinnati or you can go back to the Cubs. I want to trade Bone, Cassie, and Marsh. They got to go. I would sign Alonso. Bryce, you can go back full-time being a DH. Pick up Bader's option. Crawford's got to be your left fielder. I'm trading Bone. I want to replace him with Bo Bichette or Bregman or somebody to bridge the gap for Aiden Miller. Bryce being a DH, I'm sorry. I don't want him back in the outfield. What everybody's giving blame to Kerkering. I don't know if he forgot how many outs there were or what, but that was the biggest brain blunder I've ever seen.
I think it's the biggest brain blunder to end a playoff series in my lifetime. Certainly in baseball. I mean, like, physical errors happen. Like, obviously, Bill Buckner is the all-timer, right? Number one, that was Game 6. They had a Game 7. But like that, physical errors happen, right? They happen to the best players. They can happen to anyone at any time. But, Steve, a mental error like that leading to the physical error is just, it's all times bad. And it is.
We need a new manager. I love Thompson, but he doesn't pull the guns in the postseason. He hasn't. We need somebody with a fire bulldog mentality, a Larry Boa. I hate to say it, we need somebody like that. I'm either looking at Matt Williams, bring Clint Hurdle out wherever he is.
Sending this all to Dave Dombrowski.
Something needs to change. We can't run it back again. Like, we need new players, new faces, more players with a bulldog mentality. And you know what really sucks? The Bader injury coming in. That I think
it does
change the series.
Well, it did. It would absolutely, Steve. It absolutely did. It changed. I mean, it changed the base running just in Game 2 with the bunt. He would have been out. I mean, all that kind of stuff.
Let me ask you this.
Yep.
Would you bring back Dave Dombrowski? Or would you really clean this
No,
thing?
I'd bring back Dave.
Okay, you would.
Yeah, but I'm ready to move on from Topper.
Yeah, sure.
Look, Bruce Bochy's out there. I mean, if they're looking for like a last piece of the puzzle, he's one of the greatest managers of all time. He still wants to manage. I mean, that feels like the turnkey. We got to get the different manager.
But it feels like the smart guy thing to say that this is on Dave Dombrowski. I don't even agree at this point. Like, he put a roster out there that's good enough for them to win. Like, it would, for example, if the Eagles had lost in the divisional round last year.
Would have been on Howie.
It's not on Howie Roseman.
No, it would have been on Sirianni.
At what point is just the players that are there aren't playing well enough?
Well, I agree to a degree, but if you watch the same result, because I agree in theory they should be better, but after 3 or 4 years of watching them fail the way they did, at that point, should Dave reassess and go, well, I thought this could work, but after 4 years of it, I realize it's not, and he ran it back again.
Sure, but like Bryce Harper was here before Dave Dombrowski. Like, Bryce Harper is the centerpiece of this team.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of the decisions, like Trey Turner, stuff like that, like, yeah, okay. But like, the pitching staff is very clearly good enough for this team to win a World Series.
Agreed.
The Zach Wheeler thing is just an unfortunate occurrence.
And that happened after the trade deadline, which he could do nothing about.
We got the closer we wanted, is supposedly the best closer in baseball. You got an outfielder who was the spark plug of the team.
It's
he
not
got
on
injured too.
It's not on Dombrowski.
Yeah. No, okay, so to your point, I think they definitely had way more talent to do better than this, right? I don't know if it would have won a World Series. Maybe there's still flaws within the way they were constructed, but this? NLDS winning one playoff game in the last 2 years. So, I mean, each year I'm saying they won one playoff game in each NLDS. So I think that there's way more left in the tank than what they've given us, but maybe their ceiling wasn't as big of a championship
They're a
either.
roster good enough to win 96 games in an MLB season.
The problem is, and why I'm numb today, is let's just be real. Like, we could be optimistic or we could be real, or whatever you want to say. They're only going to get worse, these stars, right? Baseball aging curves are what they are. We've probably seen the best of Bryce Harper.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have. Like, will Kyle Schwarber, even if he comes back, ever year like this again? Maybe, maybe not. Trey Turner had a bounce-back year, but he's a 32-year-old shortstop. They don't get better. I mean, like, that's just how this works. So, like, their window, when they're all in their prime, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32 years old, that's over, right? We're past it now. So if they bring them all back, they're not going to be as good of players. And if they move on, they got to make the right moves. That's why it's numbing, because this whole thing is going to be different, and they had their chances. That's when the ball went over, JT said, I just kept replaying 2 years ago in my head when they had the Diamondbacks here up 3-2. Brodes, the Rangers took out the Astros for them. Like that, there was their World Series. It was there, and they didn't win it. And now you know, when you think about this particular series, they had to face the Dodgers, right? That was a really tough draw. You could lose a 5-game series to the Dodgers whenever. They had their chances to win a World Series, this group, and they let it slip by, and then they lost this one. It stinks.